Hello. Thank you for holding with us. We are back and we have only missed the first 20 minutes of Chelsea Liverpool. This is Scoutcast Matchday. I'm joined by Rich Davies. How you doing, Rich?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, glad to be back a second time.
Yeah, hopefully this time we don't have audio problems. Apologies for those that tuned in 20 minutes ago and were able to watch us but not hear us. So I am looking at the comments now to hopefully see loads of you saying, yeah, I can hear you and it all works. So do let us know if you're with us. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I think we're getting a few comments coming in. Sainty, Sumat, I think we're looking good. So, Flapjack, how has the last 20 minutes gone? I mean, you've been like me, frantically trying to fiddle around with the settings, but I think you've had your eye on the game as well. What's it been like?
Yeah, I've had half an eye on the game. You did brilliantly getting everything live, and so did Andy. He's looked from what I've seen, he looks like he's out wide at the moment with Havertz up top. So, I mean, that's one to monitor. That's one to monitor definitely.
Yeah,
I
there
know a
was.
lot of people sold Havertz, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, if Havertz does play there long term, 8.5, playing as the number nine in a team that scores loads of goals, you'd think that could be one to keep an eye on. But yeah, obviously we need to see how they get on. But Chelsea do have great fixtures after this one. They got West Brom next. They've got a sea of green in terms of fixture difficulty rating, which we like. Um, Rich, how's your week going? Tell me about your week because there's been braces everywhere, there's been hat tricks anywhere. Have you managed to get on any of them?
My season, I know it's quite a new season, it had been horrendous until that Spurs game where Harry Kane bailed me out. And I turned the game off for about 10 minutes. He got two disallowed goals quite early. And I was like, I can't watch Kane play anymore. But yeah, it's basically been a week, hasn't it, of people with certain players or people without. And there doesn't seem to be much in between.
Yeah, it doesn't. And if you're like me and you don't have any of those big names that we've mentioned, Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Richarlison or James or Kane or Son, then there's so many talking, should I wildcard? And I must admit, at the start of the game week, I said I'm really happy with the look of my team. The structure's there. I might need a 4 point hit, I might need an 8 point hit, and already I'm looking at a wild card. I've not hit the
So,
button yet, but I'm close.
so that was yesterday morning when you say the start of the game week that you were happy.
Amazing what 36 hours can do in FPL, right?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I haven't hit the button, but I'm effectively on wildcard at the moment. So, but mine was pre-planned, and I don't know if I regret it now because of Kane scoring well. But
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
a lot of players we can jump on with wildcard.
I guess you were a Kane owner, so at least you've had those returns. But then you look at Kane versus Son today, and seeing Son down the middle is brilliant, right? Because we saw post lockdown, Son's on the left, and you're thinking, not a great FPL asset hugging the touchline, but today he looked more central in behind Kane a lot. I'd be interested to see the heat maps, but yeah, Son's definitely one for me. I'm thinking if I can spend 8.9 versus 10.5 and they're going to produce similar returns, then Son would be the one I'd be looking at.
Yeah, it's just the penalties there. That's the
Yeah,
only thing that would lean me towards Kane as well because we've seen so many penalties.
yeah,
I mean, you could go for both potentially if you're feeling bold, but I mean, there was such a difference between that first half when Spurs were horrific and that second half when Spurs were incredible. I mean, which Spurs are we going to get, against Newcastle next week?
yeah. Just looking, Trent is lining up a free kick. So we're watching. I'm watching on my Sky Go app. There's probably a little bit of delay. I'm sure you guys in the chat will tell us if there's a goal. Many of you are probably watching on the same sort of Sky Go setup as we've got. Trent, I'm on 24:31. Trent's lining up a free kick. It's probably one to cross. To be fair, he's pretty far. Yeah, he's pretty far out. He's 35 yards out from the angle. But in terms of the lineup in this game, Chelsea Liverpool. Of course, this is your Super Sunday. Chelsea have gone 4-3-3. The midfield three are Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic, so more solid than normal. And then the front three is Mount, Werner, and Havertz. Havertz is the one playing central. He looks like the number nine today. Werner in off the left. Of course, we expect Pulisic to be on the left more often than not, but he's often injured. So if you're a Werner owner and you're seeing your 9.5 forward playing out wide, you're probably looking at that and thinking long term, you really want him in the number nine role, right?
Yeah, you would. I mean, it's really interesting for wildcard because Werner's one of those players. I've sort of had him in, but I've not really had a reason apart from I assumed he was playing number nine for Chelsea,
Yeah.
and obviously without Pulisic at the moment, there's not many people you can trust. I wouldn't trust Mount long term. So, I mean, this is interesting, but there is part of me that thinks, could it change in the next game? Also, I'd love to see a penalty today. I'm sure you would as well, because then, then we'd know which one of them is on penalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's still Jorginho, but
Yeah, I mean, Jorginho's penalty record is amazing. It's something like in 34 pens he's missed like one or something like that. But still, he still freaks me out as a Chelsea fan the way he does strike a ball. But for a pen, you look at it and go, please don't do the hop every time. At some point, the keeper, a bit like with Bruno pens, you're just looking at it going, at some point, that goalkeeper, whoever it is, just stands him up, just doesn't commit, and then he's thinking, where do I go? But he waits and waits. Bruno and Jorginho, the keeper goes one way and they go the other.
if it goes wrong, you look ridiculous.
Yeah. Sky have just shown Thiago Silva in the stands, obviously still not in the matchday squad. He hopefully will be coming into that back four and we'll start maybe seeing some clean sheets at Chelsea. Rich, have you looked at any of the Chelsea defenders this year and thought, yes, maybe I'll consider them because they're cheaper, James or Azuma at 5 million? Are we expecting to get more clean sheets than last year?
Yeah, I keep wanting to call James James now. It's getting very confusing. But yeah, James at obviously 5 million. And I mean, the fact he's been trusted today in such a big game, I mean, surely he's nailed.
Yeah.
Surely. Yeah. So I think I'll definitely be looking at him on wildcard. After whatever the result is today, really, I think I'm definitely going to get him, because even last week when Chelsea conceded, he went up and scored that wonder goal, 40 seconds later. So,
yeah, and loads of people were shocked with that wonder goal. But if you remember from James at Wigan, I know it was only in the Championship, but I think he was Wigan's Player of the Year that season. He got, I think, goal of the season for Wigan as well. He was brilliant, and he scored a fair few of those crackers, and he played in midfield a lot. So he's got that in his locker. He strikes the ball well, doesn't he?
I couldn't believe the power. I mean, I remember him at Wigan vaguely, but a goal like that's incredible technique.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'll definitely be looking at him. I mean, when you compare him and the price of Azpilicueta, he's not playing, and I mean, Azpilicueta was always a player I liked, in FPL.
Yeah, he's been Azpilicueta's been a mainstay of this team for a very long time and rarely misses a game. So for him to be fit and on the bench is potentially a sign of things to come today. Remember, Azpilicueta can play left back, can play right back. I'm really surprised he's not starting as the left back today, knowing he's up against Mohamed Salah. I didn't think Alonso would be trusted in a four, and I've always said, I'm in my Chelsea shirt today. I'm a Chelsea fan for those that don't know. I really didn't expect Alonso to be playing left back in a four. I thought when Frank plays the back five with wing backs, Alonso's brilliant there. But in a back four, can he be trusted defensively against a team like Liverpool and Salah? But he's still giving him the nod ahead of Azpilicueta. So yeah, I think it just further shows that James again is nailed.
It does. I feel a bit sorry for Azpilicueta, really. I mean, is he getting phased out? Phased out of the team completely?
Yeah.
Because he's old, but he's not that old.
He's still club captain. Jorginho will have the armband today, the vice captain. But it's funny, those two players aren't bankers for the starting 11. Like, yes, Frank's playing Kovacic, Kante, and Jorginho in the middle today, but that's because we're playing Liverpool. If we were playing Brighton, or when we played Brighton, it was a 4-2-3-1, and that two, it will be two of Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic. So, we don't know long term if Jorginho will be in the 11, if Azpi won't be in the 11. It begs the question, who will be the captain? And is there therefore a lack of leaders on the pitch without those two in? But in terms of Liverpool, let's look at them. Keita starts today. He's a 5.5 million option in midfield. From his time at Leipzig, he knows where the net is. Brilliant. Really excited about him moving to the Prem when he did. Full of goals and assists. Haven't quite seen it at Liverpool, but moving forward, he could get a few more starts. So saying that, with Thiago Alcantara coming to Liverpool, he'll probably replace Keita, for example, in this starting lineup. So that'll be an interesting one to see. It's Fabinho playing centre back today. I noticed, Rich. He's playing. It looks like he might be playing centre back. He's playing alongside Van Dijk, so Gomez drops out.
He's on the ball now.
Werner still looks bright. He's full of gas, Werner. He's so quick. Just want to see him be able to get in behind, but Liverpool look like, they're a team that are very hard to get in behind. Yeah, they play a high line, but the recovery pace of Robertson or Van Dijk, Trent's no slouch. It's really tough to get in behind them.
The annoying thing with Liverpool is just that they seem to have players are so expensive. The highest in their bracket, for defenders and for midfielders. Maybe not strikers, but even Firmino, he's priced quite highly, whereas Chelsea seem to be a lot more reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that Chelsea can be as good as Liverpool, and I don't think that would, I don't think that's out of the realms of possibility.
We saw it last season with United, didn't we? Their players, because they'd had a poor season the year before, their players were pretty affordable, and then we were all able to, make the most of them post lockdown. Are you thinking that could be the case with Chelsea this season then?
I think so. It's just finding the right ones. I mean, like I said, I trust James now, and it's going to be one out of Havertz and Werner. I mean, I had both in the first week and then transferred Havertz out. I mean, Pulisic is the one I think we all want long term. I don't know about yourself, who your favourite asset is, but 8.4.
Yeah, and we nearly saw him at 8 million, didn't we, at the start of the season? Do you remember the FPL tweet?
Yeah,
and
I think
about half an hour later, they hit us with 8.5.
they got the American account to tweet it out, and I don't know if they got it wrong or if the reaction they realised they got it wrong.
Is that what it was? It was from the American account.
Yeah, do you remember a lot of clubs were releasing their own ones? And yeah, for some reason, some US Twitter account tweeted out the price of Pulisic at 8 million.
Right.
And then it got changed. So I don't know if they got it wrong or.
Oh, Timo Werner coming close. 18-yard box, left foot. He's centimetres wide. Alisson looks like he may have had it covered, but Werner looking bright there. He hits the ball well, Werner.
The good thing about this is I get to see it just after. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It's like you're effectively seeing the replay.
Yeah, you're my goal alerts. or
JD Cochran says, back to the Chelsea chat, Jorginho will be the penalty taker. And yeah, I'm with you there. I think when on the pitch, Jorginho's on pens, 100%. When he's not, I think Werner will be the penalty taker. He took him at Leipzig and he was pretty good. Edis has got Reece James and Son for Trent and Zaha. Okay. Summer is thinking of Trent Alexander out. Get a Wolves defender in. Wolves defensively are better than Liverpool if you go off the second half of last season. Their defenders are cheaper. You could sell Trent, go to Roman Saiss, bank 2.5 million. That's what I think Sumant's probably looking at. And then he can easily go DCL. And I'm guessing, you could go a Shea Adams to a DCL or whatever. So I see you thinking there, Suman. I must admit, I was looking at my wildcard, potentially using it in the last few hours, and I've made a few drafts, and the way of getting all the players I want in, of course not all of them, you can never get all of them in, but one way is dropping out one of the Liverpool lads, and the Liverpool lads, of course, I've got that I want to be set and forget are Salah and are Trent. And I was thinking, okay, dropping Salah out is potentially too dangerous. Yeah, they both got high ownership, but the ceiling is higher with Salah. Could I drop Trent out for a few fixtures? Maybe I could. What do you reckon, Flapjack? Would you ever contemplate either of those two things?
I mean, I don't have Salah at the moment, so
okay.
So yeah, watching this it's quite nerve-wracking. I've also considered, and I don't think I'll do it, going without Trent as well, because like you say, going without one of the Liverpool lads opens it up completely. But if you actually go without Trent as well, I mean, you can basically have an amazing, front seven.
Yeah.
Like a really premium front seven. It's just if you want to risk going without Trent. I mean, we've not had a clean sheet this game week yet until today, so there could be some merit in going really cheap defenders.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And the clean sheets is an interesting one. We're not seeing many, and we are seeing loads of goals. We're seeing loads of braces, loads of hat-tricks, and I just wonder if these games are all being played a little bit more like a training ground exercise. Like there's no fans in the stadium, so the intensity drops a bit. Players try things more. Maybe they're a little bit lackluster in the back. It can't be a coincidence that we're seeing fewer clean sheets and more sort of hat-tricks and braces. I just think as a sign of things to come, maybe the premium defenders, the ones that get attacking returns are still going to be attractive options, but maybe for the whole season they're not necessarily set and forget. Maybe Trent doesn't need to be. And bold of you, Rich, to go without Salah. I mean, that was obviously so you can make. This is a guy, by the way, for those that are watching, 4 top 10,000 finishes, Rich. you know what you're doing. And Salah out was risky, and I guess after game week 1 you thought I've made an error here, but actually long term you'll perhaps benefit.
Maybe. I mean, I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was.
Yeah,
But it's allowed me to have players like Kane, kept players like Vardy instead. So even though I didn't have Salah last week, I still got, I can't remember what it was, 58 points. So it wasn't a complete disaster.
yeah.
But so I think it's doable. I think you can go without players like Salah, but I don't know. It's horrible. It's horrible to watch. I mean, I've got my one eye on this at the moment, and I don't like it, especially when you know what his ownership is. The only good thing this week is not many people have captained him.
Captains, yeah.
Yeah,
So the effective ownership at least isn't 100% plus.
yeah.
Would you consider? Oh, Kepa, terrible kick. Was it Kepa or
Shock.
Zuma?
I'm,
Someone just kicked the ball straight out of play. Would you consider Salah on your wild card if you're wild card in game week? Well, ahead of game week 3.
if I'm going, yeah, I put him in my team last night
Yeah,
just because he was close to rising, so I could see if he does, because he doesn't do very well away from home,
yeah,
and especially he 4 away goals last season, I think it was, and
yeah.
especially against big teams. So if he went crazy today, then I'll just stop being so stubborn and I'll keep him. I think I will go without him. I think I prefer Sterling. I think I prefer De Bruyne. Obviously, we haven't seen them play in the Premier League yet.
Werner's just missed a sitter.
Oh,
I think Havertz might have been offside, which would be a saving grace there. You know this whole keep the linesman. Is he okay? He's off. Fortunately, he's off. But you just never know, and they keep the play going this season. Havertz crosses it 8 yards out, 12 yards out on the penalty spot. Werner drags it wide. Havertz is looking to get him behind, and he's no slouch, is he?
no, he's not. I'm just seeing it now, actually. Oh yeah, he's quick, isn't he? Oof. He should have scored, really, shouldn't he?
He should be burying
Or at
that.
least hit the target. Yeah,
Fortunately, the
yeah,
flag's up, and he'll claim I don't know. He'll claim, oh, I knew the flag was up, but yeah, that's pretty
yeah.
poor. Saman asks, why is everyone wildcarding now? And Saman, there is no right or wrong answer with should you or shouldn't you wildcard. It's remember this season is slightly different. We've got to use our wildcard up to or over game week 16, I think. So
Yeah.
ahead of game week 17, you have to have triggered your first wildcard. Usually, of course, we get the whole 20 fixtures, so we're 3 or 4 short of that. And also, my idea is if you need to stop the rot early, stop it early. And for me, I don't have any Everton players, I don't have any Wolves players, I don't have any City players, and I'm looking at those 3 teams and thinking, I have got United and I don't want them. I'm thinking, yeah, I don't want this lineup moving forward. And later down the line, when everyone is wildcarding in game week 7 or 8 or 9, yeah, I might take a few hits. But at the moment, what I'm seeing is loads of people taking hits, and I really don't want to start the season with hits. So I'm thinking, yeah, use your wildcard, and then at least you're well set. For example, I've got McCarthy in goal, and I'm looking at Southampton and going. I tweeted earlier, half an hour in, they were 1-0 up, I think, or perhaps it was 0-0. And I tweeted going, Southampton are all over the place at the back, and yeah, they went and conceded 5. Like they are just not going to keep clean sheets this season. They are so open, and they continue to play that high line after seeing Son get in behind time and again. So again, that's one change I want to make, and I don't really want to be using a transfer on a defender. I want to bring in an Everton player for obvious reasons. I want a Wolves player. So the only way of doing that for me is to hit that magic wildcard button, and I'm quite excited by it actually. What was your thinking, Rich? Because you actually started the season knowing it was very likely you'd wildcard, which I wish I had done, because then I could have planned my game week and just pick players for the first 2 weeks. I looked beyond that a bit too much.
Yeah, I mean, I did pre-plan it, but I don't think I got much of an advantage by only going for 2 weeks of players, because it meant I had a lot of Arsenal players. I mean, they did okay. I mean, Holding got a clean sheet and then a one or 2 pointer yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I got a massive advantage, because I feel like if I was going more long term, I might have had an Everton player, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think same reasons as you. That I want to have a team that I'm happy with. I want to change all the fringes of the side, like maybe the goalkeeper, my budget defender. There's just so many little reasons, and I want a team I'm happy with. I want to have at least 2 Man City players.
Yeah.
I'm firm on that. I wrote that down at the end of last season. I want to have Man City players.
Yeah.
It's one of the few things I took from the end of last season. I mean, remember that Norwich game where I had
Oh,
a lot of people had De Bruyne, Mahrez, Sterling, and they just went crazy in the last 30, 35 minutes, and it was beautiful. And I feel like City can do that any week.
yeah, they can. When you look at their post-lockdown form, I think they scored 32 goals or 34 goals post-lockdown. The second highest was Man United on 22. Like, they score so many more goals than
Yeah,
everyone else. And I've just got to expect that they continue that. The whole fans not in the stadium, slightly more like a training exercise, really suits a team like Man City because they keep the ball, they try things, and they have the best players, right? They have the most technical players. It suits
well,
them.
exactly. If Spurs can score 5 goals, how many can City score? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. And after Wolves, the fixtures for City are all right. I think it's Leicester then Leeds, but I can see them scoring 3 or 4 in every game. Leeds are a team that come at you; they won't sit deep. Couple of questions in. Alexander asked, who's the best 4.5 million goalkeeper? I was obviously speaking about McCarthy. Look, I think Martinez, that's just left Arsenal and gone to Villa, will become the best 4.5 million. The beauty with Martinez is you can put him in and we can know the backup Aston Villa keeper will be 4 million. Whether that's Steer or Nyland, I think it's going to be Nyland, that you can have a combination there of 8.5 million, sorry, 8.5 million of 2 keepers, and you'll always get one playing. So if your 4.5 is injured, at least you've got your 4 coming in. So, and Villa were pretty good defensively post lockdown. I'm gonna wait and see what Villa do. When are Villa playing, tonight or tomorrow?
good question.
Villa obviously haven't kicked off yet. I think that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yeah, they got that Monday night, haven't they, with 2 games in a row?
Yeah, the ones at
Yeah,
like 6 p.m. So
yeah,
I think Martinez probably is the best 4.5. What do you reckon, Rich?
yeah. It's boring, but I agree. He's the one I want. I'm a bit biased as a Reading fan because yeah, I love him. But yeah, I agree. And yeah, like you said, Villa looked strong defensively at the end of last season. They've made some really good signings, like Matty Cash. He's come in,
Yeah.
so he's quite an attacking fullback.
He used to be a
And I
winger,
was
didn't
just
he, Cash? So he's been
yeah, he did.
converted.
Yeah, yeah. So I really like that Villa team. Ollie Watkins up front
Oh,
as
I
well.
can't wait to
Yeah,
see Ollie Watkins
yeah.
at 6. I put him in my wildcard draft earlier. 6
Have
million.
you?
Ollie Watkins.
I,
Again, I'll be watching him, but he's played twice for Villa. Once against United in a pre-season friendly, and once in the Carabao Cup. He scored in both of them.
and then he's got Fulham next week. Yeah,
But
that could be
like,
beautiful. That could be absolutely beautiful.
he could be this season's Pookie. I mean, maybe that's Bamford, but Chelsea are in here 3-on-3. Havertz, he plays Mount in too wide. Havertz, by the way, just took a free. Oh, Alonso, no, good save. Havertz just took a free kick with his left foot, and no one got it. It just went straight out. But oh dear. Could that be a red card? Christensen brings down Mane. Mane's through on goal. Christensen looks to sort of rugby tackle him.
It's not in the box, is it?
It's not in the box.
No.
Oh, it's a yellow card. I thought he was the last man there. In the chat, Kev thinks it should be a red. Hang on, he looks like he's the last man. How can that not be a red? If that's a foul, that's a red. I'm a Chelsea fan. That's a red. Rich, what do you think to this? You'll be seeing it.
I still haven't got to it yet. Oh, I've got it. It's just about to happen. Oh God. Yeah, it is. Although I guess Kepa was. He should have just let Kepa clatter him instead.
Yeah,
But,
and then Kepa could have got a red and been out for 3 games. That would have been nice.
And, yeah,
oh, VAR are looking at it. If VAR is it, yeah. So possible red, denial of a goal scoring opportunity, right? Though, I mean, I can't see how they're not going to overturn this. What we haven't seen much with VAR is we haven't seen them overturn refs' decisions much. TA says red in the chat. He's clearly holding him. Yeah, I don't think it's been confirmed yet. Look, in the chat, guys, you can let us know.
Yeah, it's the way he puts both arms around his neck as well. It's not even slightly accidental. He knew what he was doing.
I mean, this is Mane, 30 yards out. With Kepa. Kepa, I mean, Kepa does look like he might be getting them. If Kepa's going to win the ball, he's not denying the goal scoring opportunity.
That's why I don't know why he's done it. I mean, maybe he just doesn't trust Kepa, and because he didn't need to make that tackle.
The ref's made his decision. He's sent him off.
as a non-Salah owner.
Wow.
Wow.
I think it's the right call.
I think it's a ridiculous tackle, or you can't even call it a tackle. A ridiculous hug.
I'm absolutely gutted, but it's the right call, isn't it? I mean,
I
Kepa
think so.
might have got it, but even if Kepa doesn't, you've got to think it's a 50-50. Kepa's with his feet, he can't use his hands. There's a good chance Mane still collides with him and wins the ball. Mane's the quicker runner, he's running at that pace. You stupid boy, Christensen. That could be that. This is your chance to shine in a Chelsea team, which is squad, which is full of centre backs.
Who's on the bench for Chelsea? Just wondering what they can do.
Tamori's on the bench.
Oh, of course,
not.
yeah.
So he could
he
could put Azpi at centre back.
Yeah.
What was positive about that, Rich, is I saw it was a red card. At the same time, someone confirmed it in the chat. The first person confirmed it in the chat, which makes me think we're not massively behind, which is great.
That's
so
good.
we're not going to get told when there's loads of goals.
I'm quite a way behind you, I think.
Although Kev has just said it's half time and I've not got half time. I've got Trent lining up a free kick. So maybe I am behind. I'm sure Trent's going to put this over and the whistle's going to blow. The good thing for Frank is he's at least got half time to sort out how he wants to come out in this second half because, Trent over. Looks like the half time whistle will go. You're going to have to probably sacrifice someone and put an extra defender on. You cannot play Liverpool with Alonso, James and Zuma as your three defenders. You just can't.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Especially with two such attacking fullbacks as well. I mean, yeah, at least it's happened just before half time. I guess he's got time to actually think about what he can do.
Yeah.
And I guess just try and hold out for this 0-0 now.
How frustrating is that though? Because Chelsea were pretty solid. Like I can't remember Liverpool creating a really good goal scoring opportunity to score in that half. And whilst Chelsea didn't create much, 0-0 is a fair result, and you're thinking Chelsea can actually maybe keep a clean sheet against the champions, and now that's looking very unlikely.
Yeah, someone was saying the other day that Chelsea's home defence is actually quite solid, as in statistically. I guess Kepa obviously means you don't keep that many clean sheets, so I'm not shocked they've kept Liverpool out so far, but yeah, the second half's going to be very interesting now. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a bit worried as a no Salah owner.
Yeah. I wonder how many. I don't know. I didn't see the odds on how many captains Salah, but I would have thought he was still probably third or fourth favourite this game week because it's Salah and because of what he did last week. Aubameyang would have been the most popular pick, but loads would have captained Salah, right?
I think most people captain Salah, but within like the engaged managers, so maybe people watching videos like this, they tended to go towards Aubameyang, players like that.
Yeah.
So it's Salah, isn't it? So most people are just going to see he got a hat-trick and captain him.
Yeah. Loads of you are joining us now during half-time. We see this a lot on Scoutcast Matchday. And by the way, Scoutcast Matchday, we're going to be bringing you a game every week. I'm Gianni Battici. I'm joined by Rich Davies, aka Flapjack FPL. Rich, you've got 4 top 10,000 finishes. You're an absolute pro, and we're going to use the wildcard to. The half time to discuss a little bit of wildcard chat because I know we've touched on it. If you're looking at premium assets for a wildcard, who are the traps and who should we be jumping on in terms of the bandwagons where we see in the form? Like, for example, Everton players. Are any of them traps? DCL? Richarlison? They're quite back. They're safe bets, aren't they?
I don't know with them. They've got Palace next, haven't they?
Yeah.
I don't have any Everton players at all. And they've come off a quite a good fixture.
Yeah.
Where they were playing against 10 men for the majority of it. I don't know. I wouldn't call them traps, but I wouldn't want to be tripling up on them now. I mean, on my wild card, I'm gonna have one at most.
Yeah.
And I think I'll have one because otherwise it's quite scary in case I'm wrong, which I've been wrong quite a bit this season. But I'm going to be targeting the Man City premiums.
Yeah.
Obviously, that could change when we watch them tomorrow, but then that's a very tough game against Wolves.
Yeah.
So I guess like we touched on before, City can score so many points. I'm going to be targeting the Man City players and then trying to fit as many as I can in around them.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. If I wildcard, I think I'll be doing exactly the same. I'll be going double City attack, probably Gabriel Jesus and one of Sterling or KDB. I was all set for KDB, but I now like the look of Sterling because we know Aguero's out for 1, maybe 2 months. And if Aguero's out, Sterling plays better when Aguero's out. And you look post lockdown, Sterling and Jesus, two of that front three, just look brilliant. I think Sterling got 8 goals post lockdown, 1 assist. Although in that time, those 9 goal involvements, KDB equally got 9 goal involvements. I think it was a 4 assists, 5 goals, or vice versa. But what would your thinking be with KDB and Sterling, Rich? If you could have one and one only, I know you're looking at potentially a double up, but
Yeah.
who'd you go for? Is KDB the more sensible option for a set and forget, but Sterling the more explosive option for short-term premiums if you're doing a late riser strategy and moving around between premiums?
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there. I mean, KD not having KDB, and I did it quite a bit last season. It's horrible. Like, if you do it, don't watch Man City games because it's not enjoyable.
Yeah,
But
involved
I
in
just
everything, isn't he?
everything. One penalty. If he scores a penalty, it's worth 8 points because he's so good on bonus.
Yeah,
But to captain someone, I want to captain Sterling. So maybe I'm sitting on the fence a bit, and going both is the easy way out. But
yeah,
obviously, sacrifices have to be made elsewhere. I mean,
yeah.
there could be chat for a triple up. I mean, Jesus is 1 million cheaper than Kane.
Yeah. If they go and blow Wolves away tomorrow night, if City go and win 4-5-0 against Wolves, the best defence in the league, by the way, like, yeah, you could say, no, Liverpool the best defence in the league, but if you look at the numbers the second half of last season, Wolves are as good as anyone. If they go and put loads past Wolves, I'll be looking at, yeah, maybe I can go the triple up. Because if they can do it against Wolves, they literally can do it against anyone. And you could go, if you're on a wild card, you're using it because you've not done well in the first couple of game weeks, i.e. me. And if you've not done well in the first couple of game weeks, you've got loads of making up to do, and you probably want something a little bit different. So to go triple City, you can make up so much lost ground.
I mean, look at that Leeds game as well the week after. So
Yeah,
2 weeks time they got Leeds. I mean, that could be. I don't even know what the score could be.
because you just know
It's,
Leeds will have a go, right? Like they
they will.
don't
They will.
know they know how to. They did it in the Championship, I'm sure, at times, but they don't ever go. Bielsa's not the type that will go, yeah, we're not going to play football, we're going to park the bus. It just doesn't happen. It's just not his ethos, right?
No, it was something that was interesting today. Actually, I only caught maybe half of the Brighton game, but Ben White is a very good player, and obviously he was on loan at Leeds last season.
Yeah,
So maybe losing him, that's weakened Leeds at the back as well.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, I think you're right. And Cooper, their captain at centre back, was also out at the weekend, so
mm,
they really struggled defensively. I didn't expect Fulham to go and score 3. Saying that, from what I saw, and it's one of the games I've not watched live, it was Leeds absolutely dominated, and I'm looking at Leeds going, if you're on a wild card, Leeds are going to score loads of goals this year. Most of their players are sort of 5.5 million. Surely you need one Leeds player, but then it's who do you go for? Bamford's subbed at 59 minutes every week, the 60 minutes or whatever, the first 2 game weeks, despite scoring. Then you look at the midfielders. Helder Costa's 5.5, Jack Harrison's 5.5. But these are guys that didn't score a huge amount of goals in the Championship with Leeds, which makes me think they're not going to score a huge amount in the Prem, are they?
no, I think their goals are spread around quite a bit. I
Yeah,
mean, Pablo Hernandez, I think he got injured in the warm up yesterday. He got most of their assists last season.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, they don't seem to have a talisman. I mean, unlike Fulham, who've got Mitrovic, you can just go Mitrovic if you fancy it.
yeah,
They haven't got that. I mean, Bamford's cheap,
yeah.
but yeah, I don't
Bamford's
know.
cheap, but then comes off, and like if you're
Mm.
if you're starting him, you don't really. Yeah, he's only 5.6, but you don't want someone that's coming off with half an hour to go every week.
No, you don't want someone that he's looked like a good finisher in the 2 games, and
Yeah,
if someone's only watched those 2 games for him, they're going to think he's clinical,
yeah.
but he's not. And so you got that combined with 60 minutes. Yeah, I think there's too many good options to go wasting our time on Bamford.
Loads of people in the chat have said about sort of the City rotation. Is that a concern? Well, that's why we're kind of thinking Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling, KDB are the 3 that are nailed. If you're going for a
Mm.
Bilver or a Mahrez or a Foden, you just have to ride the wave and go 1 week they'll play and they'll get double-digit returns. The next week, don't be surprised if they're on the bench. But, Alexander Chow has said, is Foden a good budget option? Rich, 10 games post-lockdown for City. Foden started 7 of them, featured in all 10, 5 goals, 1 assist. 6.5, is it worth riding the wave and just having him and going, yeah, he'll play, and if he doesn't play, he'll return next week?
Yeah, I don't mind Foden. I mean, I don't mind risking it with any of the City players. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I had those three, and a lot of people had three City at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'll get one week where you get 3 or 4 points. Because I remember on my birthday, I got 4 points from my 3-man cities, and that was a captaincy. But then the next week, you can get 50 points from the 3 of them, with one of them as a captain.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think, yeah, like you said, ride the wave. Some weeks you're going to get a very low score. Some weeks you're going to get, like what Spurs did today with your Man City players.
Yeah.
Foden, yeah, I could see why you'd have Foden. I mean, you need to obviously make sure you cover for him. I'd rather have Mahrez still, despite the price difference. I think Mahrez is still really, really cheap. He's great value.
Yeah, it's like 8 or 8.5. I've actually seen a
8.5,
few
yeah.
transfer rumours. No, look, take it
Oh,
with
the
a
Real
pinch of
Madrid.
salt. The Real Madrid link. And I'm interested to see how much he features against Wolves. I mean, I think he's only returned back to training late, and I think he had a knock. But I always worry about Mahrez, because if I'm playing someone that's in and out the team, I don't want to spend 8.5 on them. I want to spend 6.5 Foden money. But when he plays, he does seem to perform.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I've just had a thought when you're saying that maybe because we've got so many players like Zaha at the moment are actually offering such great value. Maybe it's not the same as the end of last season.
Yeah.
Maybe having that 7 million Zaha who's going to play, regularly. Maybe they're just as good as someone like Mahrez, but
I've seen loads of people bringing Zaha in this week. My only thing with Zaha is, what does Zaha do every time? When does Zaha ever play well?
I know.
Only when the transfer window is open. And I just think this might be the year he moves away. Palace have been spending a bit of money. They've been committing to some higher wages, Batshuayi loan, spending money on the lad from Eze from QPR, and linked with a couple of others. And I just feel like they're preparing for Zaha's departure. I don't know. Mate, or maybe they're up for investing a little bit more in the squad.
I was on the podcast with Dean Jones from Bleacher Report the other day, and he was saying that he's heard that Zaha was almost jealous of them signing Eze.
I think I listened to that pod. Was that your FPL surgery?
It was.
He was a guest, yeah.
Yeah. And I think 'cause he's a journalist, and he was saying that he's heard a lot of reports that people like Zaha's jealous of Eze. Eze was so great in training, so maybe that competition spurred him on a little bit.
Yeah, possibly. The system suits him. He's playing in a 4-4-2 down the middle as well. So yeah,
he should have scored more than he scored over the last 2 games. He should have scored like 4 or 5. He's been offside a couple of times. He's missed a couple of sitters.
Yeah,
he's been involved.
A lot of you in the chat are saying, James is the best option in that price category, and you're right, guys. Samant says it, Edis says it. James is a great shout, and he's one I really like. I said the other day, James could perform this season like a premium asset, and he's a 7.5 asset, knowing that everything goes through him. Like, this is a guy that has played at the biggest team in the world, and he's the star of the 2014 World Cup for Colombia. And yeah, it didn't go right for him at Real Madrid, but he had one good season under Ancelotti. I think he played 29 games, and in that time I think he got 13 goals, 13 assists. That good season he had at Real Madrid, as I just said, was under Ancelotti, the only time he's performed there. Ancelotti took him to Bayern Munich. Ancelotti tried getting him at Napoli. He's now got him at Everton, and this guy I think will be the big fish in a small pond, and that absolutely suits the way he plays. Just like when he plays for Colombia, when he did it in that World Cup in Rio, in Brazil. And I think James will be central to everything. I think James could be on pens as well. We don't know that, but I think if he wants pens, he'll be on them. Sigurdsson's usually on pens, but of course Sigurdsson's not in the starting 11. Rich, what are your thoughts about the penalties? Could we see a Richarlison or Dominic Calvert-Lewin or James taking them out of those 3?
That's the big question. It's a question with a lot of players who's going to be taking the penalty, because that would push James into, he's a good player anyway, but I just don't have him. But that would push him up into maybe being a premium asset, all in but the price tag.
Yeah.
I mean, Sigurdsson's missed his last few penalties, and he did come on as a sub yesterday. So, I mean, I could see James just taking penalties off Sigurdsson anyway, if he's on them. So, I mean, so many of these teams I want to know. Like, we obviously know after today that Morpay, for example, is on penalties.
Yeah.
But that Everton one, that's a big one. That's the one I want to know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I do think Everton, what we know with Ancelotti teams is they've always scored loads of goals. And this Everton team, whilst they were quite open, and West Brom still got a couple against them. By the way, Pickford's got to be saving the Dangana and possibly the free kick as well. But for that reason, I don't want to invest in Everton at the back, despite Luka Dean providing great attacking returns. I think, though, I definitely need to cover them going forward. I'm just not sure if I want to go with a double up. Because the double up means... it's ahead of Crystal Palace, isn't it? Like, is it a bit late? Are we chasing points by going to the Everton double up?
Are you leaning towards one in particular? I mean, it sounds like you like James.
James or DCL.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Richarlison's just as good an option, but I don't really want to spend the 8 million. And I like the value in it. I think there will be a share of points there between those three players. So I think it's a toss of a coin. I think it will probably be DCL. Just because I think I might want more options in my midfield transfer-wise.
Yeah, I think I might be the same now. I'd much prefer Richarlison, but it's just that million. It's just that million.
It's only 0.8 now, though.
Oh, is it? Oh, of course, yeah, of course.
But still, it's 0.8. Tomori's coming on, okay, and it looks like Thiago Alcantara is making his debut for Liverpool. He only signed a couple of days ago, so he must have only had 1 or 2 days training. Guys, stay with us. Loads of viewers joined for half time. Thank you so much for having us as your half-time entertainment instead of Ashley Cole. But mute the TV, listen to us. We are going to be talking FPL and all things, but we're also going to be updating you on the game. So commentary if you like. Although I must put a little disclaimer in. We're on a very, very slight delay, so I might be 30 seconds behind you guys. But if you're up for watching the game on mute and listening to us talk FPL, then do stay with us. So yeah, Rich, you're thinking probably DCL because of the money?
It's all about the structure, really. I do want one, but I'm not overly convinced on their fixtures.
Oh, Havertz subbed. Sorry to interrupt you, Rich. Havertz is off. Loads of you in the chat have got Havertz. I've been seeing the comments. I thought he might take one of the midfield three off for Tomori, but he's looking at it going, we're going to keep the same shape. It's going to be 4-3-2 instead of 4-3-3. And we need that midfield three in place. So Tomori comes in at centre-back. Havertz comes off. So it will be a front two of Mount and Werner with a midfield three behind him.
Oh, Chelsea, it's annoying because they've got such a good fixture next week. It's just, I don't know what players to go for.
You're going to, I guess with your wild card, you want one, but probably won't want to go double up, right? Or would you go a forward and a defender?
Yeah, I'll do that. So I'm definitely going to have Reece James.
Yeah,
and then it's just a case of, and then which forward player do we go for?
It's probably a toss of a coin between Havertz and Werner then, isn't it? But knowing that Havertz has been sacrificed today, and knowing how poor he was against Brighton in the first game, that possibly shows Frank's go-to is going to be Timo Werner. I.e., this is a guy that's going to be playing 90 every week.
Plus, I mean, I don't always take into account price changes too much, but Havertz is probably going to drop if you're, fans see that he played badly, then he only played half a game.
Yeah.
So he could be one that plummets in price.
Loads of you are saying you're going to keep Havertz. Addy is saying Kovacic should have been subbed. Now, Addy, I feel you there. I really thought it'd be one of the three midfielders, Jorginho, Kante or Kovacic, but I completely get the thinking. Look, Chelsea aren't losing this game 2-0. To sub Kovacic and keep a front three on against Liverpool is risky. At 0-0 when it's still tight, Frank will think, let's keep a 4 at the back and then let's keep that midfield three that's done all right in the first half. And it just means there's not going to be much to chase up top, and Werner's going to have to do a lot of running. But I see the thinking of why Frank has gone with Havertz off. People are saying about Son. Madeline says, is it worth getting Son? Rich, you've obviously owned Kane. If you could choose one Spurs player, I know you like Son for his penalties you mentioned earlier, but Son saves you so much money. You could get him at 8.9.
Yeah, Son's an absolute bargain, isn't he?
If he plays down the middle, he is.
And he's clinical as well.
He's greedy. He's greedy as well, which we love.
Yeah, which Kane didn't seem to be today. But he was creative. I actually saw a tweet saying it was 16% of his career assists was today. I could have got that completely wrong. It was a ridiculous stat though, that Kane turned creator for the afternoon.
I remember Tim Sherwood saying when he was the manager of Spurs that he thought Harry Kane wasn't an out and out nine. He thought Harry Kane was he used to call him a 9.5. Because he played the 10 role so well. Kane wears 10, ironically. Bale will be taking the 9 shirt, but I thought that was really interesting. This is a guy that saw him in training every day for a year or whatever it was. And Kane, he compared him to Teddy Sheringham, and I thought, yeah, Kane is a world-class 9, but he can play that 10 role so brilliantly. He can drop deep. He can those little passes through to Son. I mean, they're as good as goals. They're as valuable as goals. And Mourinho said after the game, Kane was my man of the match. He was brilliant today. So
yeah. Maybe it's to his FPL detriment that he can be so flexible, that he can play, different roles and play them well. I mean,
and he's a team player.
Exactly. The only thing he shouldn't be doing is taking corners like back in the Euros. But yeah.
Thanks, Roy.
But he can do most other things.
Do you know what? I love Gary Neville as a pundit, and I love the fact he's not too biased about United, and he'll still slate them. But every time I hear Neville say something brilliant, I go, yeah, well done, Nev. You're brilliant. Why weren't you a manager? I think back to the Euros in 2016 when Roy Hodgson and Gary Neville decided to put Harry Kane on corners.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I have to take with a pinch of salt everything that Neville says after that. I mean, maybe that was Roy overruling him, and I think there was a bit of fallout between them over something, but I was gutted when I saw Harry Kane on corners. What a bizarre decision.
It was. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Gary Neville was partly accountable for that campaign, but I guess let's not dwell on such a negative topic.
I was there in Marseille for the England-Russia game, and I've never been so scared in my life. Many of you will remember the scenes at the harbour where the Russian hooligans were kind of vandalising the streets and, well, beating up English fans. And the journey to the ground was so scary. I was with Toby, who many of you will know from the Twitter community, and we're checking into an Airbnb. There's a group of 3 of us, and towards us is this Russian mob, and they are bandanas on, covered in blood, tops off, piercings and tats everywhere, and you're looking at them walking towards you. And this is a one-way street, right? One car can come towards you, and we're walking down it going, our Airbnb's just up there on the left. We need to take this road to get in the Airbnb. And as we're getting towards the Airbnb, they're coming towards us. The Airbnb's like here, and we're doing that. And we're like, so we literally get there, we're buzzing, and they're 5 metres away, 2 metres away, and we're buzzing and still no answer. So we just stand in the doorway, sort of hop up into the doorway, and then sort of behind you, they just walk past, and we're like, don't give them eye contact. We're in England shirts. Fortunately... They marched on. There was about 20 of them, and they were all walking in sync like a pyramid, right? The leader was at the front. Never been so scared in my life. Heart in mouth moment. Fortunately, they were so keen to get to the ground and leave the harbour. So we spoke to an England fan minutes later who was like, have the Russians just walked that way? And we're like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, they're getting away from the police that were after them. And now, of course, English fans were kicking off as well, probably equally responsible for all the vandalism in Marseille. But it was not a pleasant moment for me. And we made it to the game safely. And then there was loads of fights in the stadium as well. Fortunately, we avoided them. But atmosphere for sure. Oh, I think we missed a goal.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I think Mane scored. Robertson free kick, Mane goal, says Saman. Rich, when you see it, I'll let you update us because my stream has gone down.
I'm on 49 minutes and 36 seconds.
Firmino assists as Alexander. Mane goal. So my Sky Go account, for some reason, keeps logging out. Talk us through it, Rich.
Yeah, Firmino from the right-hand side, from the edge of the area, crossed it for Mane and goal. Damn. It's not too bad. I don't think they're that highly owned.
No, they're not, are they? They're both their
own.
Firmino
again, he's scoring away from home.
Firmino assist or
Firmino's? Hold on, let me watch it again. Oh yeah, Firmino assist. Sorry,
still scoring.
Mane header. Yeah.
Oh, I've just seen Klopp's reaction.
Still returning away from home.
Any defensive howlers in there, or was it purely just a good goal? And much you could do about that, or
it was a good header. I think he was against James. I need to see it again. As in Mane was against James.
I think Mane's ownership's about 4%, isn't it? I'm sure
it's low. It's low. I mean, he wasn't very well marked. by James. But I mean, he's good in the air, Mane, isn't he? He scores a surprising amount of headers.
Jared 93. All you have to think of about Gary Neville is his time at Valencia. Good point, Jared.
I don't know if I envy your Marseille story. I was in Nice for the Iceland game.
Oh, nice, were you?
Yeah, so the experience was nicer, but the football wasn't. So
yeah, that was I went to Nice for Poland, Northern Ireland, I think it was, and the stadium's out of town, but it was a really cool little stadium, and like they got put on a bus service, and I just loved the atmosphere walking up to the ground in Nice. That was cool.
I just remember the walk to the bus seemed to take about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it did.
Especially after England had just been eliminated, when I was already preparing for England against France.
Yeah. 9% ownership. Thanks, Alexander, for Mane. Still, that ownership will be a lot of more casual managers, I would have thought. Most active managers that are watching here. If anyone in the chat has got Mane, let us know. I'd be really interested from those watching. What are your thoughts, Rich, on Gareth Bale? He'll get the number 9. He's got the number 9 jersey. He'll be playing on the right of a 3. Scored loads of goals in Madrid. Not currently fit, but is he someone you wait and see, or is he someone you commit to early?
Do you know what? I said to someone in the group chat last night that I'm going to get Bale straight in, and then I found out he's injured. I didn't realise that he might be out till November.
Yeah.
So his price has it been released yet?
No. I think he'll be 9.5. I think he's going to be sub 10.
Yeah, I did check, and last time he was in the Premier League, I think he was 9.5.
Was
he? Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I think it'd be quite difficult to squeeze in for that price, just because we've got so many players we want.
Yeah.
But I think I mean, it won't be the Bale of old, but I think he's fun to own in FPL. I have good fond memories.
Oh wow, 2-0.
Oh, not Salah, please.
Mane. Kev Max, let us know. Thank you, Miss Sexy Diva, as well. Kepa mistake. No, we don't want more Kepa mistakes. Who got the assist, guys? Come on. This is an FPL thread, and not one of you has said who got the assist.
I'm just watching it. So Robertson's got the ball.
Kepa Howler. No assist. Okay. Mane. I'm just watching it. Okay. Pass back to Kepa. Kepa. Oh, wow.
Here we go. What's going on here?
That's terrible. That is
just watching them play
absolutely
head tennis
shocking. Rich, wait till you see this. That hurts. Kepa, what are you doing? What are you doing, Kepa?
I'm really looking forward to this.
Mate. Oh, it's so basic. You're a £70 million goalkeeper. No. It's bad, isn't it?
Wow, yeah.
Just clear your lines.
I have no words. He's been at fault for goals in both games now. Premier League games this season.
Oh wow, he's trying to pass it to Jorginho on the edge of the box. He takes far too long.
Do you think Frank was lying in his interview last week? I don't know if you saw it in the post-match interview. He was asked if he's happy with Kepa, and I think he said yes.
Yeah, he's definitely lying there. Yeah. You can't be. Why drop him for all the games he's dropped him for the end of the season, the big game against Wolves? It is surprising he's not played Caballero. My only thinking about playing Kepa in these 2 games is we know a goalkeeper is coming, probably Edouard Mendy. Is by playing Kepa, he's showing that we still like Kepa, and therefore he's keeping Kepa's value slightly higher than the pound he's worth.
This isn't.
But
this isn't keeping his value. Yeah.
Or is it making a loan move more attractive because he's Chelsea's current number 1 rather than Chelsea's number 2 that a 36-year-old Caballero starts ahead of him?
I'm just wondering, do you remember Roberto for West Ham last year?
Yeah.
Who was worse?
Kepa.
It's that.
Kepa because we paid 70 million for him.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there was players like I don't know how much Martinez went for, but
20 I think.
Yeah.
Maybe 25, but why are we not buying him? He's proven Premier League.
Exactly.
Like maybe Arsenal wouldn't sell him to us, but yeah. Why is Nick Pope not being linked with moves away? I don't get that. Like Nick Pope's for me one of the top 3 keepers in the league, and he's still at Burnley. Like if you offer Burnley 40 million for Pope,
they'd probably take it. But I mean, goalkeepers at Burnley do have a habit of looking better than, I don't want to say better than they are. That's a bit harsh.
Joe Hart didn't.
No, that's true. That's very true. Actually.
But yeah, Heaton looked brilliant at Burnley. But then he came to Villa and looked all right. But yeah,
I mean, Villa have got all the goalkeepers now. Just
yeah. I'm surprised they bought Martinez because Heaton is so good. But then I just feel like Heaton's sick note, and maybe they think he's getting on a bit, and they need. I don't know. Well, I don't even know the age difference between Heaton and Martinez. Martinez isn't young, is he?
No, I think Martinez must be mid to late
Yeah, I think he's
20s from
28-ish.
memory.
But then
Yeah.
Heaton's probably 31, 32.
Yeah, Heaton is quite a bit older. But it also shows with Martinez how many goalkeepers there are out there that
Yeah.
clubs could sign, and not you don't have to spend 70 million to get a good goalkeeper. And obviously you can get situations like Hart and Pickford where they just drop for no reason and become bad.
Oh, Alexander says Fabrizio Romano, who we all go off now, has said
Yep.
Mendy's a done deal to Chelsea. So check his Twitter out for that. John Tyler says the funniest thing I've read on the chat all day. Thiago looks like Phil Babb. He so does. I hope he's a better footballer than Phil Babb. No disrespect, but Thiago's a worldie, and Phil Babb was just solid. And Phil Babb, from memory, could play centre mid as well, although I think he was predominantly a centre back. I remember Phil Babb from the Soccer AM clip, football it hurt, so I can't remember what it was, but it was always Phil Babb gliding between the posts to sort of go into block across. One leg goes one side of the post,
I think I've
one
seen
the
that
other,
one.
and it's like, sport hurts, so go hard or go home.
He's probably in your sticker books as well.
He's probably in those albums, isn't he? Probably the 95, 6 and 7 edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, just seeing the goal again is a weird one that Frank will be criticised for playing Kepa in these football matches. Like, why play Caballero against Wolves the last day of the season when it really, really mattered and we had to get top 4, and he gave Caballero the nod, did well, played Caballero, I think, in the Champions League against Bayern Munich at the end of the season, but then to go, we're going to give Kepa these games even though we're buying a keeper. He'll be heavily criticised for that, and rightly so, in my opinion. And I absolutely love Frank, as you can see from our picture.
Oh yeah, I don't actually feel that bad for Kepa, just purely because he refused to be subbed off. I think for that, what was that? That was their final, wasn't it?
Yeah.
When he just refused to be subbed off. I don't know.
That was a
normally
Cup
I feel
final
sorry.
against City.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, and just the actions like that, mate. I don't know. I have less sympathy for him because of this, but it must be awful to be playing badly and then things like that happen.
Yeah.
You have to be mentally strong, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly. God, Kante's looking advanced. He's the most advanced Chelsea player in this move. Werner feeds him, but out for a goal kick. Kante in the opponent's box is not what you want to see.
No, I've fallen for him in FPL before. I'm not doing that again.
Jared says, is Reece James starting at right back in this game? Does that assure him of games, or is Azpilicueta not quite fit enough? No, Azpi is fit enough. He came on in the last game. Azpilicueta is not the type that takes ages to come back from a knock. This is Mr. Fitness. Azpilicueta will run all day long, and he has just been picked on the bench because Reece James offers more going forward. And has still been solid at the back. I think it could be a sign of things to come that Reece James gets a good run in this team. I think as an FPL option, Rich and I were discussing earlier, he's a good shout. Rich, would you look at spending an extra 0.5 and go Chilwell? I know he's not ready yet, but he's training and he'll probably play next week against West Brom.
I don't know. Maybe there'll become a time where we want both. I think at the moment I don't want to spend too much on defenders, so I'd probably go for James for that reason.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could be an interesting one down the line.
The other option at 5 is Zuma looks nailed. Like, Zuma started again today. He started game week 1. Christensen now has a red card, which was a straight red. So he'll be out for 3 games. Although there might be a cup game in there.
When's Thiago Silva? Do you know when he's back?
He's trained this week properly with the lads, so I think he'll start against West Brom. So I think we could see Thiago Silva paired with Zuma. And remember, those guys will probably speak French to each other. I don't think Thiago Silva's English is great. So that could work in Zuma's favour again, like the French-speaking partnership there.
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought of that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I just thought of it now. But I read it. I saw an interview with Thiago Silva, and it didn't sound like. And Brazilians, South Americans often come to the Premier League, take a while to learn English. Aguero still won't do an English interview, or very rarely. And I don't think Thiago Silva speaks English. So I'm guessing he speaks French. He was in France for a long time. So yeah, that could work in Zuma's favour.
Yeah, I think I'd still rather James, but I think it's just a bit more exciting. But maybe I'm blinkered by that goal.
No, he's
That's
definitely
just,
more
it's
exciting,
just,
but he is probably more of
yeah,
a rotation risk.
yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? You can go for those centre backs who might be a bit more nailed,
Yeah.
but they're just not quite as fun.
They're
But
not as fun. Fullbacks are
no,
way better. Go fullback over centre back all day
yeah,
long in the same team. Unless you're, I don't know, a team like Burnley where the fullbacks don't get forward. But,
that's
even then
true.
I'd still go Taylor over, well, Taylor's cheaper than me, but whatever. Um, some people in the chat, Aman has said Ings sellers and lol. Well, I'm one of those Ings sellers this week, and that hurt. I did the move that I think a lot of us did, which was Ings to Martial. And that didn't work.
Yeah, there's people that did Kane. There's people that did Kane to Martial. The only people that really benefited were that did Havertz
James.
to Hammers. Yeah. Well, I did getting all these names mixed up now. I did Havertz to Willian, which wasn't so great. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people regretting their transfers this week. But it's luck in the very short term, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think so. It's really easy to see a couple of good games and jump on those sort of trains. And Everton, I feel like we are getting very excited by them, and rightly so. But their two fixtures have been Spurs, who were poor and open, and then that second game. West Brom was the easiest game they probably could have had on paper, or Fulham. So probably shouldn't be too blinkered by that. Apparently, Kepa has let in 8.4% of the goals Chelsea have ever conceded in the Premier League.
What?
That's amazing.
That's ridiculous. I'm trying to get my head around that. I'm trying to think how many seasons there's been in the Premier League. What was that? 91? Was it 91?
I guess a lot of those
That's
seasons
30 years.
were kind of. I mean, there was one season, Mourinho, I think, only conceded something like
Of course.
15 goals.
Yeah, so that's probably brought the average numbers right down.
Yeah, Milner on for
Yeah.
Keita. So, you know,
Penalties,
fairly
maybe.
fairly defensive-minded move there by Klopp. Milner will sit. Keita a little bit more advanced. So yeah,
Is that Salah off penalties as well?
I don't know about the pen thing with Salah when Milner's on the pitch in the last year or two, because we've seen in the past Milner's always on pens when on the pitch, but I can't remember in the last season or two Milner taking one when Salah's been on the pitch.
I definitely remember at least one last season because I
Yeah,
remember captaining Salah when not many people did, and oh, actually no, it was one where you can ignore me there because basically Salah got subbed off
yeah,
and then
Salah
they got a
started the
penalty. Yeah,
game, but so
yeah.
I'd like to see
Oh,
in recent times if that's still the case. Also, does the penalty change when you've been subbed on? So, for example, if Milner starts a game with Salah and Milner's on pens, that's one thing. Milner's name is on the changing room board, you're on pens. But when you're subbed on, Salah's name's still on the board because
that's a
Salah.
good point.
So I always think about new players coming onto the pitch and how
Yeah.
that affects the change.
Plus, they're 2-0 up against 10 men. Will that affect it? Because it's not like they need to score a 90th minute penalty to beat
Yeah.
someone. So,
So
yeah,
you
I
just
guess
give
there's a
it
lot
to
of
the
factors.
attacking player, maybe. I don't know. Like Salah, for example, will be looking at individual accolades this year, like golden
Yeah.
boots and things like that. Obviously, it's not like he's on a hat. If he was on a hat trick again, you'd expect him to get it.
Yeah, he's not looked. I mean, I haven't been paying 100% attention, but I haven't really noticed Salah much apart
No,
from
been
at the very
quiet.
start. So, yeah, so typical Salah away, maybe.
If I'm on a wild card, I'm actually considering no Salah on a wild card. I mentioned it earlier. I'd go Trent, but not
Yeah.
Salah. And it'll be a short-term measure, but it will then allow the Sterling KDB double up. Ooh, Kepa actually made a save. Um, Timo Werner looks bright. I like him a lot. I'll be keeping him. He'll be my Chelsea player.
Yeah. Will you captain him next week?
I don't
That's
think
that
I'll
West-
captain him. I don't
too early.
think I've got the minerals to captain a Chelsea player after a defeat to Liverpool and a lacklustre performance against Brighton.
Yeah, but it's West Brom.
It is West
That's,
Brom.
that's the counter argument.
And West Brom will have a go. Like, they won't park the bus. We saw against Everton, they'll have a go.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I would like to captain a Chelsea player next week,
It's
but
at the
I think it's just
Hawthorns, is it? Or is it at Stamford Bridge?
yeah. And actually, West Brom they had less clean sheets at home than away last season.
Really?
It was 22%, I think, off the top of my head, that they kept at home. So I think at home they might attack more than they do away. Maybe away they'd try and sit back a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but otherwise you could look at Kane or Son or the City lads. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of options.
There are. I think City Leicester could be one if City do well against Wolves. Simon Thompson, will Podence start if Wolves sign a fullback? So Podence has been starting front three, so he's safe regardless of fullback. Oh, are you thinking as though Adama Traore would then play in the Podence role because he wouldn't be used as a right wing back? But yeah, they're signing Semedo from Barcelona, another Portuguese lad, wasn't often a starter at Barca. Didn't get too many attacking returns at Barcelona in a team that obviously scores a huge amount of goals. So I personally go, yeah, Semedo's going to come straight in the team. If he's 5 million, I'm looking at him from an FPL perspective. But then I think the front three will be either Neto or Podence with Traore and Jimenez. Mason Mount apparently has just fired over the bar. I think I'm just about to see it. Mount, by the way, guys, is in my FPL team. I've kept that one quiet because he's offered nothing. And he's a terrible shout on paper. But I just fancied him as the only nailed option. It's Mount. Oh, that should have gone in. That was a beauty.
I think he was a good punt for 2 weeks.
Well, he's the 90-minute man, right? Everyone came off against Brighton but Mount. Today, Havertz was sacrificed, but Mount wasn't. Frank loves this boy.
Exactly. You've nailed him with the team sheets. You predicted a player that's played twice, and that's all you need. I mean, obviously, you'd rather have goals, but
yeah. Do you know what? I actually got Mount because I was getting stick on Scoutcast Matchday by Toby, especially saying, "Oh, all these Chelsea signings. Where's Mason Mount going to play?" And it's all I've heard. Frank invested in the kids, and now their kids aren't going to play, or the English player. No, that's absolute bull. Mason Mount will play more minutes this season than. We'll probably rank 4th or 5th in the most amount of minutes this season on Chelsea outfielders. And last season, by the way, he ranked 2nd. Like, this guy gets so much game time because he can play in so many positions. He's a massive threat from outside the box. He starts the press, which is how Frank wants to play. So at 7 million, you're right, Rich. It wasn't a bad call. And he's the 90-minute man. He might not play 90 today, but it's a bit different down to 10 men. But I'm tempted to keep Mount for West Brom, but on a wild card, it seems stupid.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because obviously, if you weren't wild carding, he's an easy keep for another game, another easy fixture. But yeah, that's a tricky one. I don't think I'd have him in my wild card team.
No, I can't.
But then it's painful if he scores.
Yeah, and then it's like a bit like, I don't know. I'll be selling Martial this week on a wild card. On a wild card. I don't think I'm going with a United player. What are your thoughts on that, Rich?
I'm definitely not. I mean, I didn't have any this week, and I didn't really plan. I mean, last night I was looking at Rashford before the game, thinking he might be my favourite asset from them. But I'm just going to wait till they look better. There's so many good assets around at the moment. I don't need to squeeze a Man United asset in there. Not a defender, not an attacker.
The only one that makes it easy to squeeze in if you want to cover United, and that's purely on price, is Greenwood. Because he's 7.5, you can go, I don't know, there's a million between them, but you could rotate a Greenwood or a Foden, for example, with a million in the bank.
Yeah, the worry of doing that on wildcard is when or if Sancho signs, then you've got Greenwood. He might be a bit under threat. And so I think because of that, because the transfer window's still open, I probably wouldn't even go for Greenwood myself. But I agree, he'd be probably the best value, a bit like Foden.
Yeah. I think that'll be what I do when if United start scoring goals and I need to bring a United attacking asset in, and if Sancho hasn't signed, it's like, okay, well, getting Greenwood in will be way easier in terms of surgery to your squad than getting a Bruno or a Rashford in. John's on a wild card, he's not going with United players. Sexy Diva, I doubled up on City with KDB and Sterling. Good luck with that. I think this could be a great move. Jared's got Podence and Zaha for Dele and St Max. St Max came off early today. He had a knock going into the game. He could be out for a couple of weeks, and Newcastle don't look like they're going to score many. Addy says, should we look at Van der Beek at 7 million? Is he more attractive than Greenwood? Yeah, I just want to know where Van der Beek's going to play. It was interesting when he came on yesterday. that Bruno dropped back and Van der Beek played in a 10 role. I thought that was like, okay, Bruno owners do not want to see that. What were your thoughts on Van der Beek, Rich? He got a lot of assists in Holland.
Yeah, I'd want to see more from him before I even consider him in my team. I mean, like you said, it's interesting on the impact he might have on Bruno. You know,
Yeah.
if he comes off the bench a couple of times, maybe before he starting more regularly, and puts Bruno into that deep lying role, because then or the deeper lying role, because then you are just relying on penalties, and it does become like an expensive Milivojevic.
Yeah.
Maybe that's cruel, but you know, it wouldn't be much of a step up, and maybe 10.5's a bit too much, because I think you're already taking a player who I wouldn't really want to captain. You're making him that little bit less attractive.
Yeah, 10.5 looked like a fair price point knowing his form from the end of last season. But then when you look at how United are playing, i.e. the one and only game we've seen, you go, I can't spend 10.5 on a team creating that much, like nothing.
No.
But then you do think, oh, the pens will come. The pens will, they just always do.
They will, and it will hurt. It'd be a bit like KDB, where he gets these pens that are basically worth 8 points.
I love that outlook. I've not heard that before, but yeah, you're right. A KDB or a Bruno gets a pen, and it's a nailed 8 points because if it goes in, there's your 5. But you're guaranteed the 3 bonus, right? Because they're so influential in the game.
Exactly. Unless, like, I mean, Bruno, I guess he could get more than one penalty in a game. So I guess then after that, every single one's worth, the normal 5. But yeah, I'm not too keen on Bruno though. So maybe I'm a little biased there.
Did you have him last season post lockdown?
I took a little while to get him, but I did have him.
Werner's won a penalty by the looks of it. Hang on a sec. Okay, I'm just watching Werner in behind. He's so quick. Oh wow. Oh wow. Come on. That's got to be a pen.
I'm still waiting for it.
Now remember, Werner earned the pen against Brighton. I hope Werner's shoulder's all right. He's holding it. But Werner has just absolutely terrorised the Liverpool defence. Get in. Okay, Kev, and all you others watching that are ahead of me, please let us know if it's a goal. Simon says, please not Jorginho. Why not? He never misses.
Yeah, let's take that assist.
I would love Jorginho to take it. Oh, Kev says, is that offside? So VAR must be looking at this. Guys, I'm on 73-21 for those of you in the chat. So you can see how delayed I am. Jorginho is taking it, apparently. Saved. No.
There's more than one person said saved.
Saved.
Oh, yeah. What? Saved and missed. So I don't know which one it is.
The guy that never misses a penalty.
That could open it up.
Just missed a penalty. There's my Werner assist gone as well. That would have been an interesting last 20.
I mean, maybe they're taking him off penalties. I know from a Chelsea point of view, you're obviously disappointed, but I think FPL, maybe it opens it up to someone else taking it.
Yeah, I think it probably does. I think one miss in a team where, he's not even watched. Usually he watches the keeper and he sticks at the opposite side, but he's done his skip without watching the keeper, I think. I don't want to say I told you so. Simon, you're so right. I don't even know how I'm smiling. I'm Devo.
Was it? I haven't seen it yet, but was it like we said earlier that if you miss, you look stupid? Was it?
He's off
wasn't
his line.
that bad.
Alisson's off. Oh, okay. He's not off his line. Yeah, he doesn't look. It's not one where he looks stupid.
No, it wasn't like straight down the middle.
The upside is Werner, as Alexander says, will be on pens now, and you said, Rich. I think you're right. In a team where you've got penalty takers, you miss one and you're out. I think, unless you're Solskjaer and you keep letting Rashford take them and miss them, but whatever.
I think especially because it's Jorginho taking them. I don't care if Frank. I mean, it keeps players happy taking penalties. So
yeah,
unless Frank really loves Jorginho, but
I mean, there's talk that Jorginho could be off. Like
exactly,
the preferred Chelsea system is not. I think will not be a midfield 3 of Kante, Kovacic, and Jorginho. I think it will be 2 of them, and I think Kovacic was our Player of the Year last year, and Kante's the best in the world at what he does. So.
Yeah, I thought Jorginho only played last week because Kovacic was suspended, but obviously not. So I was wrong.
But maybe it was because they're playing Liverpool. You needed the 3 defensive or more defensively minded midfield 3. Like you can't go and stick a Mount or a Havertz in that 3, and it's way more attacking. which against
No,
Liverpool is naive.
no, yeah, no, 100%.
Oh, so many have got double Liverpool defence as well.
I'm thinking if many people have Allison, probably not.
Really low ownership, I think.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
that
know,
would be
maybe five, six
that'd be a
percent.
haul.
But John's got Trent on the bench. John, wow, you must have a strong squad. Um, oh, I'm gutted about that. Toby's got Trent and Robbo.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about the defenders. I mean, everyone has Trent, so I actually don't care what he does.
Yeah,
It's
it's boring, isn't
ridiculous.
it?
But having both, I mean, yeah, if Toby's got both,
I think he's
he
fifty
probably he
percent
probably
owned
did
Trent.
that. Yeah, and probably engaged managers, it's probably a lot higher, like 98.
Yeah,
Maybe not, but
I
a
asked
lot of
if
people got Robertson.
anyone didn't have had Mane, and one or two I saw had Mane. But yeah,
The only people I've seen without Trent on Twitter, etc., have been they've had Robertson or they've had Van Dijk.
yeah,
Like I've not seen anyone without any.
which is what I'm looking at. If
Without
if
any.
if I will go Salah and not Trent, it would be without any, or I go Trent and no Salah. But yeah,
I'd feel safer without Salah than without Trent.
yeah. Well, you are
Just
safer without
personally.
Salah.
Well,
You
I
have
wasn't last week.
well, yeah,
That
true.
was her that ruined my Saturday. But yeah.
Um, looks like Liverpool got a free kick on the edge of the area. Although I'm sure if it had gone in, someone would have told us.
It's true.
So I can't believe we just missed a penalty.
You've been bigging Jorginho up.
Mate, I even tweeted
Great
last week
penalty.
how good his injury record was, penalty record against.
Penalty.
So I looked at the numbers, and do you know, I'll have to find the tweet because he's bloody good at pens, and Jorginho is actually one of my favourite players. I just love the guy. I think and this is a guy that Mourinho has called the best midfielder in the world. This is a guy that Pep Guardiola was desperate to sign, and when he couldn't sign him, he didn't sign anyone. And he waited on and got Rodri a year later. Jorginho has scored 21 career penalties and only missed one, was my tweet. And I researched that was from Transfer Market. So it's now 21 and missed 2. Free kick for Salah.
Please no. To be honest, if Salah scores one as a non-owner, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not.
Like, I'd prefer not, but
The Trent free kick, it was a couple of yards wide. Would have been Salah assist, teed him up. Werner's been subbed, says Rick. Guessing it's Tammy that's on. You're not going to put Giroud on a game where you're up front by yourself. You'll just be chasing shadows. Okay, Kovacic is coming off as well. So Ross Barkley
oh wow.
and Tammy for Kovacic and Jorginho.
Is he actually going for it then? Is he?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, it means the
Barkley,
midfield.
Tammy.
The midfield is Kante by himself, pretty much, and
Yeah.
Barkley. Oh, okay. Mount drops back into the midfield 3.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Barkley
I thought he
and
was
Tammy up
actually.
top.
Yeah, I thought he was actually going to go for it completely, and
What is wicked about this is, again, I can tell everyone, Mason Mount is your boy in terms of 90 minutes. Like Frank's bought off the 2 German lads that he's spent a combined 130 million on or whatever. Yet Mason Mount, academy product, is still on the pitch. But apparently Frank won't invest in the youth this year. Whatever.
you're talking yourself into keeping him on wildcard.
Oh, don't. Imagine my wild card with double Chelsea after this. Or it would be triple if I go James and Werner. I don't feel like I can get rid of Werner.
No, he's such an odd one, but he does look. He looks fast as well, doesn't he? I mean, they both look pretty quick.
Werner's kilometres an hour is something like his top speed last season was 34, and Traore is the fastest in the Prem, and his was only 0.9 more or one more. So Werner's in the top 4 or 5 fastest in the Premier League, I'm sure, and in the Bundesliga he was always in the top 5-10.
And he's won 2 penalties in 2 games.
Yeah.
So
yeah, just disappointed that he started on the left today, but I do think against West Brom he'll play a more attacking lineup and it will be a 4-2-3-1 and Werner will be at the top, and by then hopefully Pulisic or Ziyech is fit, but Ziyech isn't in the squad today and I don't think Pulisic is either, is he?
No, I mean, like we said earlier, Pulisic is the one most people want, including myself. So
Yeah,
I guess part of me, you could go Havertz to then move to Pulisic.
yeah.
I guess that's one way you could do it, unless you wanted to have a double Chelsea attack. It's so much stuff up in the air at the moment. It feels like we haven't got a lot of answers
Are we
for.
doing it too early, Rich? Are we both looking at wildcards too early, knowing that
What
there's not much data to go off?
I don't think so, because I
Good.
think
This
there's
is what I
a
want to
lot.
hear. Talk me into
Yeah,
it.
I think there's. Well, I don't want to get the blame if it's a bad idea, but yeah, I think stuff like you mentioned with the goalkeepers. I think we might have made a mistake with McCarthy. It's annoying actually because Lamptey looked really good for 4.5 million earlier, but I think he got injured
He did.
and got sub. Yeah, so he'd have been a good player to get in, at his base price.
I'm still going to get him.
I was thinking
I'm
the
going to get
same.
him because their fixtures aren't. Brighton have got United, so I wouldn't want to play him anyway. And then I think they've got another tricky game. I think they've got two, but then it looks good. So I'm happy with Lamptey on my bench at 4.5.
Exactly. So it's all those little bits. It's not necessarily the premiums, but those little, budget enablers we can get in early. I
Yeah.
think we know they're going to be good. I mean, Lamptey was 4 million at the end of last season, and we saw he was good then.
He's
So this is
playing
just
right
confirming it.
wing. Like he's at times he looks like he's playing front three. He's so attacking. He's going
Yeah,
to get so many assists.
he is, and yeah, I think players like that. I'm trying to think of other examples off the top of my head. I mean, even maybe Mitchell. I know Patrick Van Aanholt's coming back, and we probably knew about him before. That you could get him in for 4 million. I think for me, it's just getting the sides of the team right,
Yeah.
because then I can concentrate the transfers on the expensive players. I don't want to be, oh, Vinagre's not played. I need to use a transfer to remove him, and I want to have the base of the team right.
I've got
Uh,
Vinagre as well. And I don't mind that I lost point 0.1 on him. He's 4.4. But what are your thoughts on
yeah,
Vinagre? If he stays this transfer window, could he be still playing at left wing back instead of Marcel? Marcel is a guy they paid like 1.5 million for from Lyon. Wasn't great, like not a great pedigree. Can play left centre back as well as left wing back. Vinagre's been linked with a move away, but I think he could still become a starter in this Wolves team.
he could. I just feel like his price is going to keep dropping,
Yeah,
because a lot of people
because of his
started with
ownership.
him.
Yeah,
Exactly, and they've got Johnny. I don't know how long he's out
6
for.
months.
Probably
He's
till
out for
six months.
I think he's out maybe till December or something. I think
So
it's a
okay.
big one.
So a substantial time. I'd like to get rid of a player like that. I just feel like he could just keep dropping. And I think last season I had a few players that plummeted in price and cost me so much transfer value. Oh, it's happened.
Tammy, no, good save from Allison. We're doing bits.
Oh wow.
Sorry, Rich.
Alison's on for a haul here. Absolute haul.
Oh Jesus,
But yeah,
someone's just gone down injured for Chelsea. Looks like it might be my boy.
oh what Mount?
Oh, he's off camera. Maybe he's fine. Maybe he's fine. Yeah, it was Mount. I was thinking of.
I'm miles behind here.
That's number 11. Who wears 11? Timo Werner. Is Werner on the pitch still?
I always recognise him from his hair.
Didn't Werner go off for Tammy? No, it was Kovacic and Jorginho. Yeah, sorry. Werner's fine. And it was Werner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. But players like Vinagre, I want to get rid of these players that are going to plummet because he's got low ownership or high ownership. I think he could drop substantially if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And I want to avoid. That's one of the advantages I think we can have wildcarding now. We don't get stuck with these players everyone had and then were bad picks. Maybe you've got more faith in him ongoing than I do, but
I don't know. No.
The question that the fact we don't know that puts me off, and
Yeah.
maybe we shouldn't have gone for him in the first place. But I thought he'd be all right the first couple of games, and then they might sign someone, or then he might get dropped. But it's almost like the opposite's happened.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm just reading the chat, mate. I think Werner's gone off injured.
Oh, we've missed this, haven't we?
Oh no, Miss
No, he's
Sexy
still on,
Diva
he's still
says
on.
Werner's still on. So John, are you right or wrong? Come on. Someone tell us, is Werner off injured? Well, you don't have to answer the injured bit, but we've seen he's taken a knock. From what I've seen, he's not running. If Werner is subbed off, it's almost certainly an injury. And he does get in amongst it. And you've seen him drawing fouls for the penalties in the last few weeks.
Yeah, it
He
looked
does
like he
take
hurt
a
his
lot of...
shoulder for the penalty, didn't it?
He takes a... And he, of course, game week one, won the penalty. He played the whole game pretty much with a dead leg. And we were worried that, okay, GTX is still on, Werner's still on. Have Chelsea used their 3 subs though? Yeah, they have. Okay, remember that, guys. Chelsea have used their 3 subs. They brought Tomori on, they brought Tammy on, and they brought Barkley on. So just because Werner's on the pitch doesn't mean he's all right, I'd say. He's moving gingerly. I haven't seen him break into a sort of more than a jog. So
He is, isn't he? I can see it. Yeah, he's limping. Do you know what? Stuff like this could force a lot of people into wildcards because we've
yeah,
already had Basuma, who was a very popular budget enabler. He got
me,
sent off.
I
Is
am
he one of yours?
Basuma.
There we
Yeah,
go.
that's what's taken me over the edge.
Yeah, these little and Werner would, I guess, push people over the edge even further. I mean, unless people want to be doing massive hits, it's been a bit of a comedy game week.
Yeah, like there'll be a lot of people that I think, yeah, tick the boxes of no Everton, no Wolves, no City. If you've not got those 3 teams, you probably need to wildcard. Like,
especially if I've got a Wolves, but it's Vinagre. So
yeah,
I tick all those boxes.
Yeah, and you would have a City this week if it wasn't for a wild card, because you'd probably make Abba to KDB or something. But still, it's one. It's still at the moment no City.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have they sold players like Son, who they now might want back. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot. If Werner's injured, I think you'll need an incredibly good bench to cover all this, or a big hit.
If Werner's injured, I'm going Havertz for West Brom.
Yeah, because you've got to have Chelsea. You've got to. What about Reece James captain? Like, too much?
Kev says he's running okay, but remember, Kev, he ran for 70 minutes against Brighton with a dead leg. He's taken a lot of contact. Right. The fact that it's taken him 5 minutes to look like he's running okay. Oh, he does look like he's running. To be fair, he's running at the defence. I can see why you say it, Kev.
Is it when he's got the ball? I'm behind him.
Yeah, ball with feet, he just ran really well. But, doesn't mean he's not in pain.
Because off the ball, he looks... I'm a bit behind you. So off the ball, he looks a bit odd. Maybe he's tired. And he's going to get the ball now. So this is where... Okay, yeah, now he looks fine, like you said.
He looks good, doesn't he? Yeah. When you watch him run with the ball like that, you go, this is Hazard 2.0.
Yeah, but then he's pulled up a bit after. Oh, no, he hasn't. Ignore me. I don't want to scaremonger. I think he was just annoyed at his through ball.
Cameron says Kepa probably triple captained Mane. Imagine. So, where are we at then? Chelsea are probably going to lose 2-0. What does that tell us, Rich, about Chelsea assets moving forward? Because you've just said you've got to cover them for West Brom.
I think you do. I think you definitely do. It's another game. It's annoying because there's been this red card. And it was quite an early red card, at the end of the first half. It makes it harder to read the game, a bit like this Everton dilemma we were talking about before.
Yeah.
I think for me, Reece James, I'm 100% getting. We got to wait for Werner news. Otherwise, I think I'll join you on Havertz.
Yeah.
I still don't mind your Mount pick, but I wouldn't wildcard him in myself.
See, because I've got Mount and I've got 1 or 2 others with all right fixtures, I'm looking at it going, do I want to press that wildcard button tonight?
Yeah, I guess it depends where that tipping point is.
The tipping point, for me, I really dislike McCarthy as a pick now.
Yeah. You don't want to do a hit for a goalie.
Don't want to do a hit for a goalie. And I've got St. Maximan injured. And I've got Basuma red carded. Now, these guys aren't necessarily my starting 11, but St. Max is, to be fair. And I'm like, there's too many nice shiny Everton and Wolves players and City. I want more than one City. But again, if they really struggle tomorrow night, maybe I'll look at City and go, maybe one of them's enough. But then City could go and draw 1-1 with Wolves tomorrow night, and I'd still probably want 2 City because they're Man City.
Yeah, even if they lose against Wolves, they lost against them. What was it, twice last season? I think.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even read much into it. Like you say, it's just I'd still want Man City players.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is the hardest start to a season that I remember. It's just a mess, and I mean, this game week's not even over yet. I think you've just got to make your picks and then be as stubborn as possible. I mean, because look at Kane and Son owners; they might have held, and then they've got the performance out of those players. I'm sure there's other examples as well. I just can't think of.
Brotain says he's worried McCarthy might get benched. Now, Fraser Forster is in the Southampton squad. I think he was on the bench today. Is 4 million. So Southampton goalkeeper, 4 million, that could become a starter if McCarthy does get benched. So he's definitely one to keep an eye on, right? Like, he's back from Scotland. He's 4 million FPL. He could be a good backup option. I mean, McCarthy only got the number one. Good save from Kepa. Really good save. Took a deflection as well. Mane would have been on the hat trick.
Oh, I've caught up with you. Yeah, good save.
I'm thinking McCarthy got the number one spot when Angus Gunn let in 9 against Leicester.
Yeah.
So we'll after a big defeat against Spurs, it's not 9-0.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there could be an argument as well if you then get Forster as your goalie. I mean, we've seen 2 Southampton keepers get dropped at that point in the last year. So, I mean, it could happen to Forster. And I still don't think it makes Saints good defensively. So, yeah, I'm sticking with Martinez, I think, on my one.
Werner's body language doesn't look great.
No, I can see him. He's moping around, isn't he? Is he just staying on because they've got no subs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he is still doing his sprints. But he just keep going back. Kev says it's full time. Keep going back to the Brighton game. He didn't train for a day or two after that, and he had a dead leg, and he still was sprinting all game. So this could be bigger damage.
Hopefully we get
Salah!
something.
Good save.
Oh yeah, I'm only about 2 seconds behind you now. Yeah, with his midriff. Oh, that's nice.
Simon says,
if Salah had got another hat trick.
Oh yeah, that would have killed you, wouldn't it? Salah could have easily got the assist there if Wijnaldum could have stuck it in from 3 yards. McCarthy, was he at fault for the goals? No, Simon, he wasn't. But Angus Gunn wasn't at fault for the 9. And it's more than just that should he be making saves. It's the confidence in the back line. It's can he be the sweeper keeper when Southampton are playing such a high line. I'm not 100% McCarthy's going to stay in goal. I think he'll stay in goal for the next game week or two. But long term, unless he starts producing some worldy performances, because he's not been great, I don't think, from what I've seen of him. I wouldn't be surprised.
No. I guess with goalkeepers, if I was wildcard, I wouldn't have McCarthy, but I wouldn't go subbing him out before we've seen it. It was quite good pre-season that Hassan Hootel actually said McCarthy is number one choice.
Yeah.
That was quite nice.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And those words, you have got to look at those sort of press conferences and stuff and think, you listen to what the manager says. Although Frank did say Kepa's brilliant. Good stuff. So, guys, we've got full time. Loads of you are coming back and tuning in, but we've been with you for a couple of hours. Apologies that the tech fail that we had. Rich, aka Flapjack FPL, follow him on Twitter. It's been brilliant to have you. A closing statement from you, Rich, with your plans for the week ahead and how you're going to target game week 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna straight away watch the Leicester game, and then I'm gonna get on my wild card. Have a lot of tinkering this week, catching the price rises. But yeah, no, thanks for having me on. It's been a lot of fun. It's gone really quickly actually.
It
has.
And
I'm glad, and no Salah goals. So I was really nervous coming on this because if Salah scored a hat trick, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably pretend my internet had cut out and.
That would have been hard. That Chelsea missed pens really hurt me. Would have got the Werner assist, would have got my team scoring and maybe actually getting an equaliser eventually. And then my arch nemesis Toby with double Liverpool defence has killed me. But guys, it's been brilliant interacting with you all. Thank you all for asking questions and for tuning in and for keeping us up to date with our sort of time lags. It's been brilliant having you. Every single game week, we will be doing a Scoutcast match day, and Rich, hopefully if you're free to come back, we'd love to have you back on.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Good. Okay, great. Well, we'll be picking a game each week. The plan is to do Saturday at 3 o'clock and to do the multiple kickoffs. And we have a reporter at each ground that we're covering. Not at each ground, on Zoom in their living room, whatever. But we're not able to do that because there's no fans in stadiums, which means the Premier League are putting all the games on TV games, right? So there's no multiple kickoffs at the same time. So we're going to pick the best one each week. That's not necessarily the best football match. That's the one with the most FPL assets. So don't quite know who we're doing next week yet. You can comment on Twitter and let us know which one you do want us to cover. But we are, of course, this week we selected Chelsea Liverpool for obvious reasons. But yeah, you've been watching Scoutcast Matchday. Rich, thank you very much for joining me and look forward to seeing you soon. Take care, guys, and good luck tinkering for Game Week 3.